Do you want to know how to learn words in English without translation? So watch this masterclass because I'm going to be showing you a step-by-step process of how to do it in English. Hey friends, Teacher Prix here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Thank you so much for returning for another video. And if it's your first time here, I appreciate your visit. I hope I can help you with this lesson. All right. Why did I decide to make a video like this to give you a masterclass of how to learn words in English? I get a lot of feedback from you guys. I read the emails that you guys send me, and many times I see that you struggle with your native language and English. And this is something that I work with my beginners. I teach my basic students how to do this, and intermediate students, advanced students, because this works for any level. If you are a beginner, you may be having problems to understand all of this class, but the process works for any level. I'm going to be showing you a process, a step-by-step process of how to study vocabulary, of how to learn new words in English. So, what do you need to know? Four-step process, okay? I'll be explaining each process in detail, but basically, what is this process all about? Number one, you need a subject and a list of words. To learn new words, you need to define the subject. It's easier to learn that way, and I'm going to be talking to you more about that. The second thing you're going to do is to use Google. Google is going to be your best friend in this process, but not Google Translator, all right? So I'm going to be teaching you a very nice hack of using the word plus the word meaning, and that's going to help you find explanations in English, but I'm going to show you in details. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to Google images. We're also going to use Google Images to find meanings of words. This doesn't work for everything. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And finally, using YouTube to get explanations for new words, expressions that you're studying. All of these things together, combined, will help you stay in English, study in English, and on top of that, the most important thing, learn new words in English. So moving on, does it work? Yes, it works. And during this masterclass, I'll be sharing you a little bit of my experience with this practice, pros and the cons, because there are advantages and disadvantages as well in this process. And what you need to do if you don't understand, well, there's a spelling mistake there. What if I don't understand? What do you need to do? So let's get started. And hey, if you enjoyed this lesson, make sure to share it with a friend. By sharing this video with someone, you're helping the channel grow, but you're also helping your friends become better English speakers. Okay? Moving on. Well, let's focus on the first step, okay? Let's practice this together. I'm going to show you in this masterclass, I'm going to show you how I do it, okay? So it's going to be a very practical lesson. So the step one, as I said, is to pick a subject and a list of words, okay? So here my choice was common adjectives. This is actually something that I do with my beginners. This is actually the subject of the second lesson I give them during classes. So what are common adjectives? They are very basic adjectives that you need to learn, that you need to know their meanings because you will use them a lot in conversations. So this is the subject that I picked. But you could have picked any kind of subject: daily routine, likes and dislikes, sports, food, furniture, parts of the house, job activities. As long as it's a subject, a specific subject, it will be easier for you to make your list. After you picked the subject, you are going to decide about the list. What words will be part of your study list? I recommend 5 to 10 words and you will understand why. But if your list is a little bit longer, it's okay. It's just that the exercise will be a little bit longer. So take that into consideration. And if it's your first time doing this kind of activity, I recommend starting with a small list because then you will be getting experience, you will be adapting, adjusting to the process. Okay, nice. So let's focus on the second part, going to Google bar and typing the word. So here I picked the word dirty. If we return there, dirty is part of my list. Remember, this is an adjective. It's important to know what kind of word you are Googling. Is it an adjective? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adverb? So these are very important definitions. If you don't know what the word is, you need to search that too. And English to English dictionaries are very good options. I'm going to go to Google, and it's very important that your Google is in English, okay? Because if it's in your language, it will translate automatically. So go to your settings and make sure to change the Google language settings to English. So here I go. I typed dirty, I typed the symbol plus, and then I typed meaning. Then enter. What is that going to give me? First, it's going to give me the results from Google Dictionary, okay? A very basic definition. I can listen to the pronunciation of the word, and here are the definitions. Adjective, so that's what I'm looking for. Well, covered or marked with an unclean substance. Maybe this is a little bit difficult for you to understand. That's why this is the first part. If you read this and you don't understand, remember, there is a page full of results that you can check. So this is the continuation of the page, and here you can read other explanations about the word dirty. But teacher, I don't understand this. What else can I do? If you don't understand the explanations on this first page, you can go to Google Images. Okay, this is the third thing that you're going to do. And here, guys, big disclaimer. If you don't know the type of word, it's going to be very difficult to interpret the image. Okay? For example, in this case, I know dirty is an adjective, a quality. So it's easier for me to interpret the image I see. If you are looking for a verb, an action, you have to interpret the pictures you see. This is just to help you understand, have a better understanding of what the word is. Okay? I searched on Google Images and I searched on Google Bar. I'm still a little confused. What else can I do? I didn't mention this in the process, but this is something that you can do if this is not working for you. You can go to Google Bar, and you can search the opposite. Why? Maybe you don't know this word, but maybe you know the opposite word. And this will help you understand the word you're looking for and also learn a new word. Let's say you already know expensive or you already know high. Probably you do. If you search the opposite, not only you are increasing your list because you're doubling your list, okay? You're also learning the opposite idea of the word you're searching. And this can help you better understand the vocabulary that you are studying. So let's go to Google and see an example. So here I'm on Google again, and I type opposite of dirty. And here, guys, if you forget the preposition of, if you write a dirty opposite, it's okay. Google is a very intelligent robot. It understands the key words, and the key words are opposite and dirty. Anything else, it's fine if you forget or if you change, if you invert or something, okay? How do I know that? Well, because I have tried many different things, and at the end of the day, they all bring me the result I want. Now, when you go to Google Bar again, you're going to type opposite of dirty, and the first results will be from Google Dictionary. You're not going to see the word opposite. You're going to see the word antonym, okay? Antonym means opposite. Synonym means similar, a word that is similar, and antonym means the opposite word. You should get the result here, but again, teacher, I don't understand this result. You can scroll down the page and find other websites. So dirty synonyms, opposite of dirty. What's the opposite of dirty? There are many results explaining the opposite of the word dirty. So this is a good way for you to learn not only the word dirty, but its opposite. Okay? And hey, if you're enjoying this video, how about smashing that like button? I would love that. By searching the opposite word, you are increasing the size of your list. That's why I said start with 5 to 10 words, because at the end of this exercise, it will be double that number. So if you picked 5 words, it'll be 10 words. If you picked 10 words, it'll be 20 words at the end of this exercise. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, Priscilla, this is so basic, dirty, good. Does it work with advanced words, difficult words, phrasal verbs? Yes, as I said, I do this for myself, I studied this way. I do this exact process and even more things that I'm not going to share here, but I try to stay in English as much as I can so I can assure you that it works. But let me show you. Let's say you want to learn figure out. It's a phrasal verb. Phrasal verbs are not basic words. Maybe you know figure out. Okay. But here I'm showing you a more complex word. Okay? The process is the same. You're going to do the same. You're going to follow the same steps. Type figure out plus meaning. Google should show you the first result, which is the definition, or a link to a nice dictionary. In this case here, it's giving me the link to Cambridge English Dictionary that is giving me the definition. If you scroll down the page, I'm not showing this here, you will be able to find more definitions and explanations, websites from famous teachers explaining the word. And if you go to Google Images, that's why I say that you need to interpret what you see, okay? If you go to Google Images and you type figure out, you don't need to type meaning when you go to Google Images, just type the word. So if you go there and you type figure out, you will see a lot of pictures showing an action. Okay, here it's not a quality, it's an action. So you need to interpret. This gets easier with time. Okay, for example, when I started doing this many years ago, it was difficult for me to interpret what I saw. Today it's much easier because I kept doing it. Okay, and remember, if the images don't help you, look for something else. And here, you can also search for the opposite of figure out. Remember a synonym here? Antonyms. Opposite. Antonym. So the opposite of figure out, and then you will find many websites that will be giving you the result. Now, an additional step. If this is not working because either the word was too difficult and you didn't understand, the dictionary had many explanations that you didn't understand, it's okay. You can use YouTube. Yes, you can go to YouTube bar and you can do the same process. You type the word plus meaning. Why? Chances are there is a teacher or 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or 50 teachers talking about that vocabulary. Okay? Here we have very nice teachers on the first page of results, and they probably have videos explaining the word you're looking for. I do this. Every time I do this, I get results. Sometimes I don't. It happens, but it's an exercise that you can do. And when you watch the video, don't just watch passively. Write down examples, write sentences on your notebook or type the sentences in your computer. Really practice the words that you're watching, that you're studying, okay? Now, as I said, I have been doing this process for a very long time, and it works with basic expressions, difficult expressions, but it's very important to highlight that this doesn't work for phrases, okay? If you just go on Google and you type a long phrase, it's not going to work. I'm talking about individual words, phrasal verbs, individual words, okay? Or maybe a 3-word phrasal verb, because phrasal verbs sometimes have 2-3 words combination, but that's it. Or expressions, idioms, but it doesn't work with phrases, okay? And another thing that I do, my beginners, my basic students learn how to do this. Do they apply it? I don't know, but I teach them how to search things in English, and they learn to start to interpret the explanations and definitions they find, okay? And finally, pros and cons. Let's start with pros of why you should do this, okay? First, you condition your brain to think in English. Many students they come and many people who follow me and subscribers they send me emails asking Priscilla, how can I think in English? What exercise do you recommend? I have many videos talking about that, but this is definitely an exercise that will help you condition your brain to think in English because you are studying in English. You're not translating, you're not thinking in your language, you are reading information in English, reading explanations in English, you are looking at images, so you are not relying on your language to study. So you start to condition your brain to think in English. You also learn more words, and not just words, you learn a lot of information because you are totally immersed in the language at that moment when you're studying the vocabulary. And finally, you learn how to explain words in English. I'm pretty sure that you know the meaning of the word house, but can you explain it well in English? And by doing this kind of exercise here, studying in English, you are learning how to explain words in English because many times you don't do that. If you just learn the translation, you don't learn how to explain. And what happens when you need to help someone or when you need to talk about something? Now, there are some cons too. This exercise can be very time consuming. That's why I recommend a short list because it takes a lot of time and you need to adapt and adjust to this exercise. So until that happens, it'll take you some time to do it. You have to read too many explanations until you find the right one. And this can be a little frustrating for some people, but here I always see this as an experience. You start reading a lot of explanations until you find the one that makes sense. And some people see this as a cons. I see this as an opportunity to study more English. Well, you may also learn unnecessary definitions because there are many explanations, there are many unnecessary definitions. And finally, it's hard to filter information alone. If you study alone, it may be difficult to filter information. I get it. I do this process alone. I don't have a teacher. So I know that sometimes it's difficult to filter. That's why I recommend adjusting and adapting to this routine of studying. And finally, what happens if you don't understand? After you do all of this process really well, if you really don't understand, I don't see any problems looking up the translation. Really, it's not that I am against translation, that it's the devil and you can't use it. I'm saying that if you rely on it too much, then you get addicted to it. What I'm suggesting is do all you can in English. And if after all this hard work, you couldn't understand. There's nothing wrong with finding the translation. I do that too. If I do all of this process and I don't feel comfortable using the word I don't understand, well, I look up the translation. It's natural. It's not my native language, okay? But I do the work. I do all the hard work. I study as hard as I can, and then if I don't, I look up the translation.